to Modern Life is Goodish. I'm Dave Gorman, and since we made the last series, a very big thing has happened in my life, ladies and gentlemen, which is I have become a father. No! We are not American. There's no need for that. It's just my joy. Millions of people have done it before me, by which I don't mean had sex with my wife. I have become a father. And when you become a dad for the first time, you learn quite a lot about the play centre. Honestly, it is play centre this, play centre that, play centre, play centre, play centre, play centre. Obviously, not everyone pronounces it that way. But I think it's good to make things sound more fun whenever you possibly can. That's why, in my world, that's a Skeletor. That's a poo lover. And, of course, that is Bukkake. As well as the play centre, one thing you might learn about is a push present. A push present. I'd never heard of a push present before, but according to Wikipedia, a push present is a present a father gives to the mother to mark the occasion of her giving birth to their child. And it goes on to say that it is considered a nouveau riche practice in Britain. And I'm not sure if that's true. I know from my own experience that Wikipedia isn't always the most reliable source. Recently, I was looking myself up on Wikipedia, not in a horribly egotistical way. Basically, somebody had asked me a question about myself, and I didn't know the answer. And I thought that Wikipedia would, right? So basically, someone said, oh, what year did you do such and such a thing in, right? So I'm trying to find this on my Wikipedia page. And what I found is that on my Wikipedia page, it says, Gorman took a break from stand-up to undertake a sponsored hitchhike around the Pacific Rim countries. And that is a thing that hasn't happened. I'm pretty sure I would remember if I'd done that. Obviously, it sounds quite nice, but I didn't do it. Now, I understand sometimes people vandalise Wikipedia pages for fun or for satirical effect. Like, recently, I saw on Bobby Davro's Wikipedia page that he was best known for his work as the inventor of Bovril, right? Now, you know that's not true. You know someone's being funny, they're being silly, they're being satirical. You understand where that has come from. But in that case, it's not obvious where the satiric intent is. It's not absurd, it's not a dig at me, unless hitching around the Pacific Rim is some kind of sexual innuendo that I've never heard of, and weirdly, now that I've just said that, it is. But I thought, well, if I use Wikipedia as a reference, I'm sure other people do as well. So I Googled my name and Pacific Rim and hitchhike just to see if I could find anyone repeating this fallacy as a truth. And I found this in the Northern Echo. And they were writing something nice about this show as it goes, but in there, they have repeated as a fact that I have hitchhiked around the Pacific Rim countries. And I haven't, but that's a Darlington newspaper with about 30,000 readers. That's 30,000 potential Darlingtonians who think I've actually done that. Now, I don't really know how Wikipedia works. I thought I'd mention it on Twitter, see if I could discover more. So I sent out a tweet basically saying, I've never hitchhiked around the Pacific Rim countries. I've just discovered that Wikipedia says I have, and so has at least one newspaper. And within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, people were telling me about other places where it was being cited as a fact. Right? That is a radio interview website, and that's a Cambridge newspaper. Both of them have repeated the idea that I've hitchhiked around the Pacific Rim. Then I get a tweet from someone telling me that it has just been deleted. I assume he was the person who had deleted it. So I went to look at the page, and sure enough, it had been removed from my page. So I left it, I just moved on with my life. Except a couple of days later, Mrs. Gorman alerted me to the fact that that fact had been reinstated. Someone's gone and put it back in. But this time, they've added a footnote. Someone's basically said, someone's taken my fact out. I'm going to put that back in. And I'm going to provide a reference so they can see I wasn't making it up. But you know where that reference takes you to? Northern Echo. You got a lie, chasing a lie around the world forevermore. And the more people who believe that, the truer it gets. At some point, I should just start saying, I had a really great time. It was wonderful. Anyway, I think you can see why I wasn't in the mood to take Wikipedia at face value when it told me that a push present is considered a nouveau riche practice in this country, because it doesn't chime with my own experience. You see, I found out about the push present from my in-laws. My mother-in-law was getting push presents from my father-in-law 30 or 40 years ago, and they're not nouveau or riche. They're from Cornwall. I found out about it over dinner one night. Mrs. Gorman was about 4 months pregnant. We're visiting her family. Everyone's very excited about the impending arrival. And over dinner, my mother-in-law says to her daughter, "Well, I hope Dave gives you a better push present than I got from your father. I'll never forgive him for that bloody vase." But my point is, I'm hearing this story and watching everyone around me laughing, and I'm just thinking, shit. There's a thing called a push present. I now know about a thing called a push present, and when you find out about a thing called a push present, you are obliged to get a bloody push present, especially if you find out about it in the company of your wife. Just out of interest, I'm curious here. Could you put your hands up if you are a father? Okay, a fair smattering of you. Can you keep your hands up if you bought a push present? I'm the only bloody one! I'm the only one who's bloody fallen for this. This information is like a virus. Once you've been told it, especially in the company of your partner, you are obliged to get it, which means I apologise to any expectant parents in the room whose lives I have just blighted with this information. This was putting more pressure on me than impending fatherhood. I woke up one night in a bit of a cold sweat and I realised I had the answer. I knew exactly how to handle this. What you've got to think is, well, Wookwood. Well, Wookwood. Well, Wookwood is my watchword. Ladies and gentlemen, well, Wookwood, yes. What would Kanye West do? So at times like this, you've got to reach for what would Kanye West do, haven't you? Of course you have. And I'll tell you what Kanye West would do after this short break. No spoilers. See you in a moment. Modern Life is Goodish. Now, before the break, we were talking about push presents, and I had decided that for Mrs. Gorman's present, I was going to follow the advice of a certain Kanye West. Now, I'll be honest with you, I very rarely paid any heed to Kanye West's life. We have very little in common, although it is fair to say that I have tape recorded 100% of the phone calls I've had with Taylor Swift. That is a fact. Now, this is a Daily Mail article from August 2013, and as you can see, in the subheading, it says that he bought Kim Kardashian a £500,000 diamond ring. Now, obviously, when I say I'm going to do what Kanye West did, I'm not going to buy Mrs. Gorman a £500,000 diamond ring. It sounds like a present that would be well received, but I think the knowledge that we were now homeless would probably take the edge off it just a little bit. What I mean is, I'm going to spend the kind of money that is, to me, what I assume £500,000 is to a squillionaire like Kanye West. Not an insignificant amount of money, but not a silly amount of money either. So I bought a nice diamond ring. Not excessive, just a nice diamond ring. And I have bought 2 diamond rings in my life. The first was an engagement ring, and the second was this push present. And on both occasions, it has left me feeling completely shaftified. It really... There was a little, you flickered at shaftified. You know the word shaftified, don't you? Know shaftified? You kind of reacted like that was an odd word. Shaftified. Shaftified, you know. It's an adjective, yeah? It means contented or pleased, despite knowing that one has been well and truly shafted. Yeah? Yeah? We've all felt shaftified at some point in our lives, haven't we? Yeah, just on a show of hands, who here is married, has been married, or is engaged to be married? Put your hands up if that applies to you. Now, keep your hands up if your engagement involved a diamond. I would say that was more than 90% of the people in this room. OK, out of interest, who here knows what the correct amount is for a gentleman to spend on a lady's engagement? I don't want to ask you how much you spend, but what does tradition dictate? Anyone? 3 months, 1 month, 4 months, okay. So basically, people tend to agree it relates to how many months of your salary. I was always told it was 1 month. And I think, having consulted with my accountant, what's important is to choose the right month. For example, I was married in October 2010, but I chose the month February 1997. Now, most of us, it seems, are comfortable with the idea that a diamond is part of the wedding tradition, and we're all fine with that. I'm now going to explain why we shouldn't really be fine with this at all. Instead, we should all be feeling truly shaftified. Ask yourself the question, why do people want diamonds? I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, that people want diamonds because diamonds are expensive. It is also true that diamonds are expensive because people want diamonds. Now, let me explain in greater detail. Some people would have it that diamonds are expensive because diamonds are rare. And some people would have it that people want diamonds because diamonds are beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to prove to you that neither of those statements is strictly speaking true. It is true that diamonds used to be rare and they were expensive because of it. That is a fact. I will explain why it's no longer a fact using a graph showing diamond production over time. From 1845 to 1870, the country that produced the most diamonds was Brazil. Brazil was producing about 200,000 carats of diamonds a year, carats being the measurement of a diamond's weight, okay? I didn't change the subject halfway through that sentence. Now, in the late 1860s, they discovered huge diamond fields in Kimberley, South Africa, and that changed the diamond industry forever. By 1872, South Africa was producing 1 million carats of diamonds, 5 times as many in just 2 years. And by 1888, it had risen to 4 million. Today, the world is producing 130 million carats a year. There are more than 600 times as many diamonds produced a year now than there were in the 1850s. Diamonds are categorically not rare. Now, when you see a graph showing production increasing like that, the laws of supply and demand dictate that you should see a corresponding graph showing the price doing that. And that hasn't happened. Diamonds have remained exclusively expensive luxury items. And that is because of a company called De Beers. Basically, De Beers ended up owning pretty much all of the diamond mines in South Africa. And if anyone else had any stones, De Beers would buy them too. They basically controlled the world's supply of diamonds. Now, we've all agreed, haven't we, that the amount you're supposed to spend on an engagement ring is roughly 1 to 3 months' salary. Would anyone like to hazard a guess at who invented that tradition? Exactly, it's De Beers. They invented that. That is not a genuinely old-fashioned tradition. This was their advertising in the 1980s. 2 months' salary showed the future Mrs. Smith what the future will be like. You're literally saying, no, honestly, it's better the more you spend, it shows you love her more. You can only do that as an advert if you own all the bleeding diamonds. This is like discovering that all the hamster farmers in the world got together and said, I don't know, we've got a monopoly now. Well, let's produce these adverts, yeah? Oh, I wonder if he'll get me a hamster for Valentine's Day. Because nothing says I love you like a hamster. Or she was going to sleep with him until she saw how cheap his hamster was. Now he's not even getting a blowy. These things are ridiculous, but only because we haven't lived with them as traditions for a couple of generations. Diamonds are just as ridiculous, but we've swallowed the advertising. They have conned the world. They've not only restricted supply, they have created the demand. And you're all left feeling well and truly shaftified. And so am I, but you shouldn't be unhappy with that. I am really glad that I bought those diamonds. Do you know why? Because if I hadn't, I would have had to know my wife. I'd have had to choose presents based on her actual tastes and actual desires. It's so much more convenient for the world to say, there's a thing over here, it's deliciously expensive, you buy one and everyone is happy. That is a much happier place to be. Now let us deal with the second issue, that people want diamonds because diamonds are beautiful. I'm not telling you that diamonds are not beautiful. What I am saying is that they are not more beautiful than man-made diamonds or fake diamonds like cubic zirconia. I don't think anyone can honestly tell the difference. Now, with some things, you can, can't you? Let's use an analogy. Let's say in TV presenter land, let's say Ant and Dec, right? I'd say they are diamonds, the best in the business, A grade. Everyone loves Ant and Dec. Now, I would say in their world, Stephen Mulhern is cubic zirconia. Okay? He looks a bit like them. He does the same job as them. Do you know what? He does it really well. He's basically a very good facsimile. But no matter how much you watch him and how much you like him, you know you are not watching Ant and Dec, don't you? And a little part of you is always going to suspect that ITV bred him for spare parts, you know? Now, I don't think the same is true with actual diamonds. This is a website, right, called Cora. It tells you, there's an expert on here, tells you the 4 ways of telling if a diamond is real, OK? Let's have a look at the 4 ways, OK? Let's go to number 4 first. Number 4, use magnification. If you have access to a jeweler's loupe or microscope. I don't. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It is not in the microscope of the beholder. If you've got to use specialist equipment, it doesn't count. You are not actually finding it more attractive, OK? Number 3, test with a thermal conductivity probe. Also known as a diamond tester. The very fact that human beings have had to invent a machine to test if something is or isn't a diamond is proof that human beings themselves are not able to perceive a difference. Let's go to number 1. Check the read-through effect. Now, this is interesting. I saw this being discussed in an episode of Flog It. That's the antiques expert Christina Trevanian there. I'll let her explain it to you, actually.
So we have a look at these 2 stones here. So here we've got this stone here, which you might be able to see just some of this newspaper text through it. And so this one should look a solid greyish black colour. You shouldn't really be able to see a huge amount through it at all.
OK, we've got 2 stones there. The one in the green circle, you can read the newsprint through it, and the one in the red circle, you can't read the newsprint through it. OK, I've asked a few audiences, it's normally about 50-50. Who here thinks that the red circle encloses a diamond? A small number of people, that's OK, about 8, 9, 10 people. Who here thinks the green circle encircles a diamond? Right, 8 of you were right, and 180-something of you were wrong. The one you can't read through is the diamond, not the one you can read through. So even if you perform the test, you've got to be told what the result of the test is meant to show you. Finally, number 2, try the fog test. Now, this is interesting, the breath test. What this basically says is if you breathe on a diamond, it fogs up, but it clears almost immediately, whereas a fake diamond takes a little bit longer to clear. I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, that you are a complete arse if on meeting a friend at a party and saying, wow, what a beautiful ring. Oh, that is amazing. Can I have a look? Never, ever, ever do that. Especially not to Mrs. Gorman. See you after the break. Gentlemen, now, previously on this show, I have been accused of ducking the big issues, of not handling the controversial topics, the things that will really upset a few people, and I want to put that right today. There is something that I think I need to say, and I am aware that it's going to upset some people. It's going to upset at least one of my friends, at least one of my neighbours. It's probably going to upset 2 or 3 people in this room tonight, and you know what? I think it just needs to be said. It's simply this, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got a personalised number plate, the rest of us think you're a dick. Now, let me, I know. Let me just put that in terms that they will understand, ladies and gentlemen. there's lots of reasons. It's the combination of money and ego that does it, but that code doesn't help. Basically, every number is supposed to represent a letter in some way. Now, if it was just these, I think I'd sort of understand. I think most people's brains process those quite well. The 3 and the 4 aren't perfect, but we can see what's going on. It's obvious, however, that a 0 looks like an O and an 8 looks like a B, and of course, a 5 looks like an S. That's why the A55 has long been Britain's funniest road. We know that. But these aren't the only code numbers. You get combinations like this, which is supposed to say best cat, and you can see that the number 7 is supposed to look like a T because you're not allowed to put an actual T there. You're not allowed to do that. That would be illegal. As, of course, would that be. Which is interesting because that means that that is an illegal number plate. And unless I'm very much mistaken, that is the top of a policeman's helmet. And that is a motorist not paying due care and attention to the road ahead. And that is an illegal number plate. Honestly, it's almost as if there's one rule for them and another for the rest of us. There are loads of other examples of numbers being used as letters that are worse than that 7 for a T thing. For example, 6Hef wasn't the 6th car in Hugh Hefner's UK fleet. It was a number plate for celebrity 6Hef James Martin. You don't want something cooked by a man who thinks a 6 looks like a C. What if a recipe calls for 1 centilitre of something? He might add 16 litres. My life, James, this bread is runny. What the hell? Nonsense. I've been through every combination I can find, and I think this is as complete a guide as I can show you. It's like an enigma machine for people who've sniffed too much petrol. And I know that a 2 looks nothing like an R, but try explaining that to former England footballer Andros Townsend. To my mind, these are perfectly understandable. I get those, that's all right. These are a bit of a stretch. These make no sense whatsoever, and these are horse shit. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone out there thinks they understand all of this and that I am exaggerating. If there is anyone out there who thinks they speak number plate language, tell me which celebrity do you think would have that as their personalised number plate? Any guesses? No? Obvious, isn't it? R2-D2. What really rubs me up the wrong way about these things is the cost of them. Imagine you're a poker player and you want to put the number plate POK8R on your car. If you were to buy that from regtransfers.co.uk, there's many sites out there, that's just one of them. If you were to buy that, how much do you think it would cost you to put that on your car? Any guesses? Sorry? £2,500? 10? You're all wrong. £47,580. That's how much it is currently available on their site for. Now, don't tell me you don't think the person who does that is a dick. Next, if you wanted to put Viagra on your car, right? And I don't know why anyone would want to do that, but if you did, how much do you think that would cost you? 120. No, 23,575. Now, the fact that no one is really very good at guessing these prompts me to think we should play a little game. Yeah? Not Bruce Forsyth's Play Your Cards, right? Oh, no. Don't go thinking it's derivative of that. I'm talking about Dave Gorman's Plate Your Cards, right, ladies and gentlemen? Dave Gorman's Plate Your Cards, right? And just in case you didn't applaud, that's how you do it in game show land. Now, let's start on the front row. I'll tell you what, I'll start with you, sir, just because you just caught my eye. We'll start with one we know, which is Viagra, 23,575, OK? The next plate, WE11F8A. Well fat. Is it higher or lower, sir? Higher or lower than 23,500? Lower, you're saying? You're right to say lower. 7,496, OK? We've got a next plate up for you. It's pasta. It looks like pasta. Maybe a man of the cloth. Or it's P45 tour. You are sacking someone called Victoria. You're giving them their P45 and you are very generous with your severance package. Is it going to be higher or lower than well fat? What do you think, sir?
Higher.
Higher, you're saying. Oh, you're right to go higher. £11,246. The game remains with you, sir. We move from pasta to pasta. This time, a 1 and a 4, supposed to resemble an A, an Italian foodstuff. Is that going to be higher or lower, sir?
Lower.
Lower. Oh, you're good at this game. £3,745. The palms are sweating. There's not even a prize. Not even a prize. We're moving from pasta to ball boy. Ball boy. Most of them not able to drive yet, ball boy. It's quite a low-status profession. What do you think, sir? Higher or lower?
Higher.
Higher. 8,995. You are a professional at this. Let me see. Spider. 2 eyes in Spider. Higher. £80,000, much higher. There is a sports car called a Spider, just to explain, I think, the expense of that one. From that one to Tories. So, this could be the political party, or it could be people called Tory might want a car with that on it, I don't know.
Much lower.
Much lower. £1,259,995. You're out of the game. That's the end of the game. No one wins the game. Ridiculous. Nearly over £1.25 million, for crying out loud. That was always going to be the end of the game, but having discovered that one, I obviously had to look up what that one would cost. 1,890. I'm not making a point, I'm just telling you the facts. That's the way it is. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Plate Your Cards Right. Of course, it's a ridiculous world, isn't it? Ridiculous. It's this craving for status symbols, for the luxuries in life, that I think is the fuel that the crooks and the criminals out there thrive on. People have been trying to get me to talk about those Nigerian scam emails on the show for a while, you know. I'm sure you're familiar with the type of thing. They're officially called the 419 email scams. I'm sure you'll have seen the kind of language we're talking about. This is the kind of thing you get. I write this to you, my brothers, while still $53 million in personal debt. Please pray we overcome. This is my true heart. I don't have enough resources to create what I really can. We all recognise this as the language of the scam email, don't we? Sorry. Did I say scam email then? I didn't. Sorry, what I meant was a tweet from Kanye West. Sorry. I meant a tweet from Kanye West. I'm sorry. So easily confused. Kanye West went mad one night and started ranting on Twitter. I was glued to my screen. It ruined Valentine's Day. He went on. I don't have enough resources to create what I really can. Yes, I am personally rich and can buy furs and houses for my family. Furs and houses. Furs, singular, would be bad enough. Houses, plural, for crying out loud. If I spent my money on my ideas, I could not afford to take care of my family. I am in a place that so many artists end up. Yes, Kanye, but the question is, which place? We know you've got more than one. He then goes further and starts appealing directly to Mark Zuckerberg. Although he doesn't tweet at Mark Zuckerberg, he just hopes that the world will pass it on. Mark Zuckerberg, I know it's your B-day, but can you please call me BY2MRW? Incidentally, if we did all call him BY2MRW, he would be able to get a really cheap personalised number plate, wouldn't he? That would work out quite nicely. Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird? I think there's very few people in this room would know when Mark Zuckerberg's birthday is, but I think the vast majority of us would be able to work out which his favourite social network is. It's probably the wrong one, isn't it? It's probably the wrong one. And then, I'm this generation's Disney. I want to bring dope shit to the world. Because we all remember that slogan of Waltz, don't we? Disney World, where dope shit comes true. And finally, he said, Mark Zuckerberg, invest $1 billion into Kanye West ideas. He's even started talking about himself in the third person by the end of this. It was glorious. And you can imagine what the press made of it. It was in the Mirror. Is he really $53 million in debt? And the Mail were asking the same thing. Of course, it wasn't just the tabloids. The broadsheets had their go as well. There it is in The Guardian and the Telegraph. And of course, it wasn't just the British press. He's a Hollywood superstar. He's a global star, isn't he? It was all over the American press as well. And you know, when a story like that is bubbling away, I find myself drawn to the bottom half of the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to see what the world is saying about a topic such as this. I've read a dozen or so stories on this very topic. I've combined all of my favourite comments into something that I like to call a found poem that I would like to perform for you now. I love Kanye West. He does not love you. I love Kim Kardashian. She does not love you. This is their time of need. I will be there for them. I will do whatever they ask of me. They are asking for money. Because I love them. They have more money than you. Yes. But I have more love than them. idiot. I'll give him $5 if he promises to spend it on some pants for his wife. We should start a GoFundMe for Kanye. A man this brilliant does not deserve to be saddled with all this debt. If everyone pitched in a single dollar, he could be out of this in no time. Are you kidding me? If everyone pitched in $1, do you have any idea how many people would need to pitch in to clear this level of debt? Yes. 53 million people. Dear Kanye, boo-hoo. Boo bloody hoo. You got yourself into this hole, and now it's time for you to dig yourself out. Write one of your raps about the situation if that's what it takes. But most importantly, shut up. It's time to keep your mouth shut and start rapping. There's a saying that all successful businessmen use. You've got to speculate to accumulate. It seems Mr. West has not been accumulating, and so now he must tread carefully. Because, as the saying goes, when you accumulate badly, you sometimes make an ass out of you and me. If you think a homeless person is really in greater need, you must have zero concept of math. Sure, a homeless person might have nothing, but Kanye has less than nothing. If you think about it, that's what debt actually is, actually. I'd rather have nothing than minus 53 million. So yeah, help the homeless if you want. But if you won't help Kanye, then your brain is missing something. A heart. Camille, rock ensemble, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you after the break. Modern life is goodish. Now, before the break, I was talking about personalised number plates, and it occurs to me that some people might be thinking, blimey, Dave's got a bit of a bee in his bonnet about personalised plates, hasn't he? I wonder what's prompted that. Let me explain. When we got the commission for Series 4 and 5 of this show, my manager thought it would be nice to get me a little celebration gift, a little present. And what he bought for me was my own personalised number plate. Which was a very difficult gift to receive. I'm receiving it and I'm trying to look grateful and polite, but I'm also aware that it's never, ever going on my car. I'm not going to do that because I think people will think I'm a dick. The plate I was given is one of the current system, so it's 2 letters, 2 numbers, and then 3 letters. He's got me D. Gorman. I've got the plate with me here. It's not on my bloody car. I'm not doing that to it, am I? That's the bloody... Look at that, for crying out loud. There's no way of getting past how horrendous this looks, is there? This is bloody awful. How do I explain to my manager that I'm never going to put that on my car? I guess one way is to make a TV show about it. Weirdly, that is actually easier than saying it to his face. It's the same people. I think it's the same as the people who go on embarrassing bodies. You know, you could go to your GP, but you'd rather several million people saw your spotty cock. But I have actually found another way. I've got a friend, he's a performer, and he was looking for management, and I said to my manager, I've got this mate, he's really good, you'd get on, I think we should go out and meet him, I think you'd be interested, right? So I drove us out for a lunch meeting with this guy, he lives in Cobham in Surrey, and while we're out having lunch, my manager Rob, he says to my mate, so, you know, what's Cobham like? And my mate says, oh, it's great, I love it here, it's really good. You see loads of famous people, you know, all the Chelsea players are around because they train near here. You see John Terry on the high street quite a lot. You see Bobby Davro as well, he lives just round the corner, actually, which excited me, because I love Davro. I'm a massive fan of Davro, mainly for his work with Bovril, if I'm honest. I'm a big fan of that. Anyway, we've had this conversation over lunch, right? Then we go to get coffee. We pull into this car park, and when we get out of the car, we see that the car we've parked next to has amazingly got this number plate. We had found out 20 minutes earlier that Bobby Davro lives in Cobham, and then we see this car with what appears to be a Davro plate on it. I was so excited. I thought, this is my opportunity to demonstrate to Rob what people think of personalised number plates. Now he'll understand why I haven't put DG02MAM on my car. So I took a picture of it, that picture there, and I put it on Instagram, and I put it on Twitter, and I put it on Facebook, and I shared it saying, look, 25 minutes ago, someone told me that B. Davro lives locally. Look what we've just seen. And it was amazing. I got exactly the reaction I was hoping for. That's not his car. He's got too much taste to have a private plate. Exactly what I wanted to demonstrate to Rob. And then this. Personalised number plates baffle me. Most people stop writing their name on their possessions post-primary school. Exactly my thoughts, that man. I want to like Bobby, but this just proves he's a cock. I rest my case. There I am, in Cobham, with my phone, showing all this to Rob, saying, look at that. I'm sorry to break it to you this way, but that's what people think. Imagine if I had put that plate on my car. This is what people would think of me. You wouldn't want that to happen, would you? And that felt like a nice way of breaking it to him, without seeming overly ungrateful. But there were some other people who reacted in a way that I found a bit odd. I mean, that's the picture of the car I've put up. I don't know much about cars. All I could tell you is that that is a BMW. I recognise the badge. That's all I can tell you. I don't know how many of you would be able to tell me more than that. There were people out there that amazed me. Times must be tough. 800 quid 3 Series Beamer. How weird is that? What's particularly weird about it is that I know they're wrong. I know that car isn't an 800 quid 3 Series Beamer, but that it is actually a 995 3 Series Beamer. I know that because I am the owner of that car. In order to create a situation that would allow me to demonstrate to my manager why I didn't like personalised number plates, I bought a car, OK? And in case you don't believe me, there it is with its original plates, and there I am with the car, and there I am with the car, and there I am with the car. Then I bought the plates, D11 VRO, and there they are on the car, and there I am with the car, and there I am with the car. Look how excited I was, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm smiling, but believe me, the bukkake was killing me at that. I do need to explain how I arrived at Davro. I didn't just choose him at random. I tried loads of different celebrities trying to find a number plate I could actually afford to buy. I started out just by typing in names of people who are known for one name. I thought they'd be appropriate, you know, like Kylie and Dermot and Rylan and Piers, but I couldn't find a single plate. I couldn't find a single plate in budget. They were all well out of my range. But after 2 or 3 days of typing in different names to see what the website would churn out for me, I found this, the plate for Davro. And that cost me $389. That was the cheapest celebrity-related plate I could find. With taxes and fees, it cost me a few extra quid. So then I found out where Davro lives. It's in Cobham, so I've got a friend who lives near Cobham to help out. We've driven over to Cobham in this car. I've parked it in a car park. I've had another friend park in the space next to it. Then I've gone and got on the train back to London. I've got in my car. I've gone and picked up my manager, Rob. We've driven out to Cobham. We've had this lunch meeting with my friend. While he's there, he doesn't really want artist management. He's just playing along. While we're there, we have this conversation, and I make sure that he mentions Davro so we can get that out there. Then we go to have coffee. As we leave to go and get coffee, I send a text to my other friend who goes and moves his car out of that space. I pull into the space next to it. We're next to Davro's car. I park in that space. We have the whole conversation pan out. We take the photo, put it online. It proves my bloody point. Simple. I think that was a good plan, well achieved. But what's happened now, because it's become material for the show, the channel have said we will pay for it. Brilliant. I've effectively sold it to the channel. They've reimbursed me for the costs of the things that go into this show. So basically, it's cost me nothing. And they asked me what I was going to do with it. I told I was going to sell it. And they said, well, you don't have to now because we've got it. And I said, what are you going to do it? And they said, I don't know. And I said, can I give it away in the show? And they said, sure, if you want. Yeah, absolutely. So believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, someone in this very audience is going to walk away with a car tonight. And as exciting as that is, it's probably the worst car that's ever been given away on television. And I do mean walk away with it, by the way, because unfortunately the car has been clamped outside. Now, to be clear, I'm not giving away the number plate. I have taken the Davro plates off. I've replaced it with the original plates because I think it's only fair that this goes to Mr. Davro if he wants it. Bobby, if you're watching, this plate is yours. I will even chip in the £80 it takes to have it registered to your vehicle. Just know that if you do that, you understand what the public will think of you. And I apologise in advance for the fact that some people already think it. But now we need to find the winner of this near-average vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. An amazing thing to be giving away. We're going to find out who is the winner. First of all, I need you to reach under your seats and remove an envelope that is stuck there, OK? Don't open them yet. All open them at the same time, OK? Fingers poised. They were placed at random. It's like deal or no deal. I don't know what's in each of the envelopes. Ladies and gentlemen, please open your envelope now. You'll know if you've got a... Am I seeing a winner plate anywhere? Two. Shit. That wasn't supposed to happen. Is it you, sir? And have you got one?
Yeah.
Do you know what? We're just going to have to play another round of Plate Your Cars Right. Come on down, ladies and gentlemen. Come on down. Come on down. What's your name, sir? Spencer. Nice to meet you, Spencer. Take your place on the podium if you'd like to stand side by side. I'm going to hand you a microphone. What's your name, young lady? Justine. Nice to meet you, Justine. Justine and Spencer. Do both of you have driving licences?
Yeah.
Do either of you already own a car?
Yes.
Do both of you own cars that are better than this one?
No.
Yes.
We've just established our favourite. We're going to start with Kylie M, one we've already seen. Kylie M, 7,990. Justine, the game is with you, and we're going to what looks like Music DJ. MU51CDJ. What do you think, Justine?
Is...
Higher or lower?
I think that's lower.
Lower.
Yeah.
You're saying lower? Oh, you were wrong to say lower. Pass the
rubbish.
microphone to Spencer.
That was on purpose.
Goes. The control of the game passes to you, sir. J. Bieber. 13,455 is the price to beat. Higher or lower, sir?
Higher.
Higher. 2,445. Control of the game flows straight back to Justine. We move on to Snail. Snail. Would that be a plate you'd like to have on your car? Is it more valuable than 2,445 or less valuable? That's the question, madam.
Higher.
Higher, you're saying. You're right to say higher, £35,000. You keep control of the microphone. We move to Oasis. OAS15. Oasis, it's higher or lower?
Higher.
Higher, you're saying. You're right to say higher. 44,995. Del Boy. Tricky. Del 80Y. Justine, what do you think? Higher or lower? Help her out, anyone? Any guesses? You're saying higher. Maybe it's up to you, Justine. It's entirely your choice.
Higher.
Higher, you're saying. 4! Close. Control of the game passes back to Spencer. We move from Del Boy to 18-0. Spencer, 18-0. What do you think?
Higher.
Higher. You're a darts player. £90,000. I'm trying to tempt the darts players with 180 there, I suppose. Now we move to... This is the final plate of the game. If you get this right, you've won a BMW that you might not really want. If you've got it wrong, Justine is winning the BMW that she might not really want. It's entirely up to you, higher or lower, it's your choice. D1 RTY.
Higher.
Higher, you're saying. Oh, you're wrong, Justine! You've just won yourself a BMW! You really have! You really have! Get a microphone on Justine! Get a microphone on Justine! Spencer, thank you for playing the game, sir. Thank you for playing the game. It's very nice to see you. I'll take that from you. Do take your seat. Those are your keys, Justine. It's real time on that clearing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I think we've shown once again that modern life is indeed goodish. Good night. Come on, Justine. I'll show you the car. Come with me. Come with me. Let's find this thing. You've got a BMW. Come on. Let's go. Okay. There you go. This is Justine. She's just won the BMW. Here we go. Make his way out. It really has been clamped. See, yeah, there. It has been clamped. You've got the keys. You have to be able to open the door. I think it's the top button to do it if you want to sit in the seat and see what it's like. Because you will screw up the wheel. It's been clamped.